2026 has begun. 2026 is the year of the Red Horse. The Red Horse stands for passion and energy. We hope this year brings you new challenges and positive changes. Just like always, BEFM will be here in 2026, bringing you better and more diverse programs and staying with you from the start of your day to the end. We wish you a happy new year and hope you tune into BEFM all year long. Once again, Happy New Year!
아직 어렵게 느껴지는 영어. 아이들 영어는 어떻게 챙기시나요? 부산 영어 방송이 준비한 어린이 영어 콘텐츠 세상. BFM 키즈 영상 채널이 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 샘 해밍턴과 윌 벤저스 그리고 모모랜드 낸시가 함께하는 BFM 키즈에서 영어로 듣는 부산 설화와 전래동화, 재밌는 파닉스 영어, 신나는 K-팝 영어까지 만나보세요. 우리 아이의 영어 실력과 창의력을 쑥쑥 키워줄 특별한 어린이 영어 채널 BFM 키즈가 여러분을 기다립니다. 지금 바로 BFM 키즈를 검색하고 구독해주세요.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
The year 2026 has started off with a bang, literally. The biggest news over the weekend was the U.S. capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Leaders around the world have responded with a mix of condemnation and some support to the U.S. siege of Venezuela's president. The bombardment was not only a surprise for the world because of its boldness, but also because it has shaken up the fundamental principles of international law. Furthermore, this shakeup has renewed fears of even maybe an American takeover of Greenland as well. It is shaping up to be a busy, busy January. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, January 5th on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're all doing well and had a lovely weekend. Well, this big news over the weekend, I'm sure some of you or most of you have heard about it or seen it. So, yes, pundits and experts, they have made several predictions for major events of 2026. But this was not on many people's lists. The U.S. attacking Venezuela and capturing its president. The operation, dubbed Operation Absolute Resolve, started at 1 a.m. Saturday U.S. Eastern Time when the U.S. dispatched a massive force to the home of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and arrested the first couple. They have been removed from the country with photos of President Maduro blindfolded and handcuffed released by the U.S. government. Maduro is expected to appear in New York on Monday local time for arraignment. The U.S. Attorney General said that Maduro had been indicted on drugs and weapons charges. The U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said Maduro and his wife, First Lady Celia Flores, they had been indicted in the Southern District of New York. And you might be wondering, well, what's the reason for this very rare but high-profile U.S. attack on foreign soil? Well, following the strike, U.S. President Donald Trump said that the U.S. will run Venezuela until a safe, proper, and judicious transition takes place. However, there may be another reason. Oil. And that's according to the U.S. president. Trump called the oil business in Venezuela a total bust and added that large U.S. oil companies will fix the badly broken infrastructure to start making money for the country. But as to how the U.S. is going to, quote and unquote, run Venezuela and the legality of the strike, there are definitely many unanswered questions. And this is likely going to be a legacy-defining moment for President Trump, an event that has already altered the history of Venezuela. We'll have more for you on this front later this hour, and also a special interview covering this real soon. In the meantime, it's time for a text topic on this first Monday of 2026. So here we go. What major world event stands out in your memory? 자, 내 기억에 가장 강렬하게 남아있는 세계적 사건은 for me, it has to be the September 11th, the 9/11 attacks, because I remember watching it unfold basically live on live television. And since then, newscasters and news outlets in the U.S., they've actually been banned from showing the actual footage. They can show the still photos, but not the actual footage. But at the time that happened, they had the actual footage on repeat, like over and over. And that was, I think, a collective traumatic experience, not just for Americans, but just everybody around the world. So for me, that stands out. That's one of the big ones. You can send in your thoughts, your opinions to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM or 부산 영어 방송 to find our channel. You can subscribe and then log in and chat with our other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050, 샵 9050. That will cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on Kakao Talk. So to find us, same thing. You can enter BEFM or 부산 영어 방송 to find our account, add us as a friend, and then you can send your messages, photos as well. The ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan. On the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM if you're in Busan. And like I said, we're streaming live on YouTube right now in real time. You can watch again at your leisure. We're also available on the BFM app and the Popbang app. Both are free and easy to download. Let's look ahead to our Monday morning together. We have our daily corners, and now in Busan with Jian. Haley's coming in for hour number 1, top stories, and hour number 2, wa글와글 tea time. We have profile check with Vasana, and then in hour number 2, we have Claire with news in depth. For our special interview today, we're going to be covering what's happening with South Korea and China. So because President Lee Jae-myung is on a 4-day state visit to China. So we're going to get an expert take on that. Also, we have, following that, a special report with our foreign correspondent who is in China right now. So it's going to be back to back. That's all coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06 and this is News Overview. President Lee Jae-myung arrives in Beijing for state visit. President Lee Jae-myung arrived in Beijing yesterday for a 4-day visit to China, including a summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping scheduled for later today, with the leaders expected to focus on North Korea, economic ties, and cultural exchanges. Seoul urges North Korea to stop provocations following missile launch. The National Security Office convened an emergency meeting yesterday and urged Pyongyang to cease provocations following North Korea's latest ballistic missile launch. Foreign ownership in South Korean stocks reached near 6-year high. Foreign ownership as a share of total market capitalization reached its highest level in 5 years and 8 months in December amid a rally in the South Korean equity market. Over 50,000 KT users switched mobile carriers in 4 days. More than 50,000 customers of KT Corporation have canceled their subscriptions after the telecom company began waiving early termination penalties following a major data breach last year. Captured Venezuelan president due to appear in New York court. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, who were both captured by U.S. forces on Saturday local time, are due to appear in a New York court on Monday local time. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Jian with us in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Indeed, it is Monday once again. So before we dive into some local news, I want to get your take on our text topic, which is what world event or any event that stands out in your memory?
I know that the World Cup is always a huge international event, but I
Yes.
think it was something special for Korean in 2002.
Oh.
It was such a huge boom.
Do you remember?
I do.
Okay, I
I do.
just want to make sure you remember.
It was before I get into elementary school, but I still remember very vividly. It
The
was huge.
crowds and
crowd and the
cheering. I'm so jealous. I was not here in 2002, but
see.
from afar, still cheering on Team Korea because it was such an amazing, amazing World Cup.
Right.
Thanks for sharing. We're going to jump into Now in Busan. Busan Mayor Park Hyung-jun is currently visiting the United States. What's the purpose of this trip?
Busan Mayor Park Hyung-jun has been in the United States since yesterday, January 4th, and will remain there until the Saturday the 10th, visiting 10 cities as part of an official overseas tour. Today and tomorrow, January 5th to the 6th, he is in Anchorage, Alaska, where Busan will sign a friendship and cooperation agreement with the city, strengthening ties with Alaska as a key hub in the North American Arctic region. The city plans to build practical cooperation across a wide range of areas, including ports and logistics, tourism, energy resources, and people-to-people exchanges, while also exploring logistics collaboration linked to Arctic shipping routes.
I see. So that's Alaska. What comes after Alaska?
The mayor will be in Las Vegas for the next 2 days to engage directly with participants at the CES 2026 Integrated Busan Pavilion. He's also scheduled to meet with the vice chairman of the Consumer Technology Association and visit Allegiant Stadium. The stadium, home to the NFL's Las Vegas Raiders, is considered one of the world's top-tier complex sports and entertainment facilities. During the visit, the mayor will exchange views with the Raiders president on global sports team operations, infrastructure development, and strategies to expand tourism and culture industries through sports content.
Yes, indeed. So it sounds like he's going to be quite busy. All right. Thank you for letting us know about that. We recently shared news that KTX-이음 trains have added new stops in Busan, making even day trips to Seoul possible. So do we have any updates?
Yes, according to Korail's Busan South Gyeongsang headquarters, a total of 2,678 passengers used the newly added KTX-이음 stops in Busan over the first 5 days of operation. This includes 2,074 passengers at New Haeundae Station, 260 at Sentum Station, and 344 at Kijang Station. Many travelers welcomed the change, from tourists who previously hesitated to visit Haeundae due to inconvenient transportation from places like Andong to people visiting their parents' homes in Busan from Seoul.
Yes, yes. So how long does the trip to Seoul take now?
Travel time from Sentum and Kijang stations to Cheongnam Station in Seoul is about 3 hours and 40 minutes, and this is about an hour longer than the roughly 2 hours and 40 minutes which takes on the KTX from Busan Station to Seoul. But passengers said the new stops ease the burden of carrying heavy luggage all the way from Busan Station to Haeundae.
Right.
Currently, New Haeundae Station has 4 trains per day in each direction, while Sentum and Kijang stations each have one train in each direction. With limited daily service, some passengers have expressed disappointment about the low frequency. Even so, nearby commercial areas are showing optimism, expecting an increase in both domestic and international visitors.
Right. So if we use it more often, hopefully, maybe they might increase the frequency of the stop. So we'll keep an eye on this one. All right. With the new year underway, it's time to welcome a new group of students. So there are preliminary orientations for new elementary school students, right?
That's correct. The Busan Metropolitan Office of Education is conducting preliminary enrollment orientations for first grade students at 295 public elementary schools across the city. The number of children entering elementary school in the 2026 academic year stands at 18,031 children born in 2019. This represents a slight decrease compared to last year. Most orientations are held in person to confirm each child's safety, with additional sessions offered in the evenings and on weekends for parents' convenience.
Yes, indeed. Well, what should parents or guardians do to prepare for this?
They should review the information on the school notice and must attend the orientation with their child. If they can't attend the orientation, they must contact the school the child is scheduled to attend before the orientation date.
Okay.
In cases where a child cannot start school due to illness or developmental issues, applications is also available to delay or waive school entry through the child's assigned school. If a child does not attend the orientation without prior notice, the education office and local governments will follow up through phone calls, home visits, and other measures to thoroughly confirm the child's safety and whereabouts.
And we know how important that is. So thank you for letting us know about this. And I know sometimes families move and whatnot. So if you do move, you need to check in with the proper district and the local schools.
Right.
All right. Lastly, there's news about changes to Busan's airport limousine bus routes.
The city announced that starting today, January 5th, it will partially reorganize routes and frequency for airport limousine buses operating between Gimhae International Airport and major tourist areas. After analyzing 5 months of operational data, the city decided to add a new stop at the East Busan Tourism Complex on the Haeundae-Gijang route to reflect growing tourism demand in eastern Busan.
Yes.
Some bus stop locations around Haeundae Beach will also be adjusted to reduce passenger confusion.
Are there any changes to service frequency or maybe the fares?
Yes, the city will reduce the number of runs on the lower demand Gijang route while increasing service on the high demand Changsan route. As a result, headways for buses departing from Changsan will be shortened from 60 minutes to between 20 and 60 minutes, with additional buses deployed to ease congestion during peak times. For the Samyeon Busan route, adult fare will be reduced from 7,500 won to 6,000 won to ease passenger burden.
Okay.
Headways on this route will be adjusted to between 60 and 80 minutes, while routes and stops will remain unchanged.
All right. Thanks for giving us a heads up on all the changes. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Jian.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It's time for your traffic report. There are a couple of accidents to report on first. First one, on Jungwang Expressway toward Daejeon. There's a two-car collision right by the Shindok ramp. Another accident at the Yeonsan intersection between a cargo truck and a car. There's congestion on Gwanmun-daero from Bangeum Tunnel to Baegang Tunnel. It's backed up on Dongseol overpass from Hwangyong Ramp to the old Kaegum Tollgate. And it's also looking slow on Runo-Samsung-daero from Myeongji underpass to Shinho Bridge right now. It's currently 3 degrees Celsius under clear skies in Busan, with a daytime high going up to 8 degrees. Busan City is under a dry weather special report. Across the nation, clear skies, but some parts of Gyeonggi and Gangwon are seeing morning lows as low as minus 10 degrees. And Jeju seeing rain or snow in the morning, depending on what part of Jeju we're talking about. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley joining us this morning. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Is it? It's a
Is
wild
it?
morning.
I know. It's been a long weekend of lots of stories, but this one in particular. But I do want to real quick ask you, what major event stands out in your memory?
I think one of the earliest major events was the Asian financial crisis in 97, which we call the IMF incident.
Yes.
Because my family, we were living abroad at the time in Indonesia. So this is something that really affected, us personally, because we were getting paid, my dad was getting paid in the won, and we had to exchange that to the dollar. And just literally watching money disappear from your eyes and be like, something about the global economy.
Yes.
To a 7-year-old me. Like, I don't know.
That's a big event.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're going to dive into our top story, which is the U.S. strike on Venezuela. I went over the general recap of what happened, but the biggest question that lingers is why?
Right. This was definitely a stunning event as we were getting updates on, Saturday night, Korea time. A large-scale, very high-profile, very direct U.S. intervention or U.S. military action in Latin America, the first one in over 30 years. So the U.S. has been attacking and seizing Venezuelan ships. We've been covering that in international waters, and it has even warned of a land operation.
Yes.
However, not many people thought it would be to such a scale. And the reason on the surface is drugs. Right. Since his inauguration, U.S. President Donald Trump has accused Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of drug trafficking and illegal immigration, but then saying that the cause for this is to destabilize the United States. So President Trump back in November gave President Maduro an ultimatum to basically give up power, and back then offered him safe passage out of the country, at which point Maduro refused.
Yes, and Venezuela's oil has to play a part in this. That's what most of the experts are saying.
Right. So we're going to actually expand the scope. Yes, initial reason seems to be drugs, but the larger reason is oil, or seems to be, because during his press conference, President Trump said that large U.S. oil companies will now enter Venezuela and rebuild infrastructure.
Yes.
If you remember, Maduro's predecessor, Hugo Chavez, nationalized Venezuelan oil. And this, does go back to the predecessor, Socialist President Hugo Chavez. Back then, U.S. companies that invested suffered huge losses, and Venezuela sits on what is estimated to be the world's largest crude oil reserves.
Yes. And then on a larger scale, this is going to be a legacy-defining event for the Trump administration.
In what direction, of course, history will tell, but this is one in line with what Trump has been advocating. Last December, President Trump and the administration published what it called the Trump Corollary, which basically said that the Western Hemisphere, including Latin America, must be controlled by the U.S. politically, economically, commercially, and militarily.
Okay.
And then in the press conference following the attack on Venezuela, President Trump mentioned what he called the Dawn Row Doctrine, a play off of the 19th century Monroe Doctrine, and said that, quote, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again.
Okay, well, one of the more shocking aspects of this entire incident was the claim that the U.S. was going to, quote unquote, run Venezuela. Are we seeing signs of this?
Right. This would be a very complicated, very potentially problematic matter. Can one country run another country without it being colonialization? So currently not at the moment. So Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is the interim president with the Venezuelan military's backing. However, the U.S. is apparently keeping its force of 15,000 members in the Caribbean for what may be a possible new intervention.
Yes.
President Trump also threatened Rodriguez, saying that if she doesn't do, quote, what is right, she's going to pay a bigger price than Maduro. And on our YouTube, you kind of see what that price may have been or might be.
And for our radio listeners, to describe the image, it's of former President Nicolas Maduro, who is handcuffed and blindfolded, or at least, and he is in custody. So another major question, though, is this? Is this legal?
Right, because experts across major media outlets that have been interviewed are saying that the U.S. likely has violated the terms of the UN Charter, which was signed after the Second World War. It's designed to prevent another conflict on scale of that one, which says states must refrain from using military force against other countries and must respect their sovereignty. The UN Security Council will convene an emergency session at the request of Venezuela this coming Monday, New York time. That would be midnight on Tuesday, Korea time. Theoretically, the U.S. could face sanctions for having allegedly violated international law. Realistically, the U.S. has veto power, so it is definitely not going to approve sanctions against itself.
Well, how has the international community responded to this?
Right. Mixed responses, as you said in the opening, but let's go over the opposition. The governments of Spain, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Uruguay, they put out a strong joint statement saying that this action constitutes an extremely dangerous precedent for peace and regional security and endangerment of the civilian population. North Korea condemned the strike, calling it the most serious form of encroachment of sovereignty. China also called on the U.S. to immediately release Maduro. Actually, China and Russia in past weeks, they've been expressing support for Venezuela. And some pundits are saying that perhaps to the larger scale, this attack could push Russia and China together for a new world order.
I see. So obviously that is the big top story. But, from what I understand, we're going to have a special interview on this likely tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. All right, next up, let's talk about President Lee Jae-myung. He is in China for a state visit with a summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping scheduled for today, right?
Right. So President Lee Jae-myung landed in Beijing yesterday, and he had a meet and greet with Koreans living in China. However, the big event will be later today, a summit with President Xi Jinping scheduled for this afternoon. So according to the South Korean National Security Advisor, Wi Sung-rak, the two leaders will likely discuss solving issues of livelihood and peace with a discussion on possibly denuclearization, cultural issues, and these Chinese structures on the Korean West Sea.
Okay.
There will be also a signing of about a dozen MOUs, Memoranda of Understanding, across the economy, industry, climate, and transportation, ending the day with a state dinner.
Yes. Well, I hear that prior to the visit, Beijing had requested that Seoul express its support for the One China policy.
Right. So according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Foreign Minister Wang Yi had a phone call with South Korean Foreign Minister Cho Hyun, where Wang Yi criticized Japan's attitude on historical matters and asked or pressured South Korea to maintain its position on the One China policy.
Right.
So National Security Advisor Wee said that, yes, South Korea is of the position that respects One China policy and maintains its position on Taiwan. President Lee Jae-myung doubled down on this with an interview with CCTV, confirming that South Korea remains unchanged regarding its respect of One China policy. And South Korea, by the way, has officially supported this policy since 1992.
I see. Anything else on the docket for President Lee?
Absolutely. So today there will be a South Korea-China Business Forum and meeting with Premier Lee Chang, who's deemed as the economic chief of the country.
Right.
The president will visit South Korea's provisional government headquarters located in Shanghai. And this year marks the 100th year anniversary of the foundation of the Korean provisional government. And he will there honor the sacrifice of the independence fighters and commemorate Korea and China's shared historical experience of fighting for their sovereignty.
I see. Okay. Well, we're going to bring it back home. Domestic politics. The ruling Democratic Party and the administration are facing multiple scandals.
Right. So it's not to say it hasn't been busy on the domestic front amidst all the international news that's been going on. So first, this is regarding the Budget and Planning Minister nominee, Lee Hae-un.
Yes.
Lee was a high-profile pick by President Lee Jae-myung, not only because this would be the inaugural office of the Minister of Budget and Planning, however, However, she was deemed as a symbolic pick for bipartisanship as she has been a 3-term conservative lawmaker with the PPP, People Power Party, and its predecessors.
Right.
However, there was first the issue of her comments in support of ex-President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law declaration, for which she has apologized.
Yes, and then there are the 갑질 allegations.
Right, the abuse of authority allegations, backed up by voice recordings of E allegedly screaming at an intern and insulting this intern during her lawmaker days.
Yes.
Interestingly, her former party, the PPP, they've been against her from the get-go since the nomination, calling her a traitor. The PPP has since then been calling her to resign from the nomination.
Okay, so that's the PPP. What about the ruling party?
Right, the Democratic Party has been more careful, but first voices of dissent are coming out.
Okay.
The very first official voice of opposition came from 2-term lawmaker from Daejeon, Jang Cheol-min, who said that, quote, someone who can say such a thing to another person should never be in public office. And this was followed by a couple 3-term lawmakers, Jin Sung-jun and Baek Hae-ryun, who are actually both running for floor leadership,
Yes.
showing that some heavyweights are weighing in on this opposition.
Yes.
The party leadership, however, is maintaining the position that as long as the nominee makes a sincere apology, this is something they could potentially take for the sake of bipartisan unity.
Ah, yes. So that's that story. And then there are 2 DP lawmakers are now facing police investigation over the political funding scandals.
Right. So this would be the former floor leader Kim Byung-gi, who has resigned, and lawmaker Kang Sun-woo. They're both facing allegations of having received funding from their respective district or city councilors.
Right.
So Kim Byung-gi is facing allegations that he received 10 to 20 million won from 2 former Dongjakgu district council members, but that he gave the money back. There are also 11 other legal complaints lodged against him or his family member.
Sure.
Kang Sun-woo is also facing allegations of having received 100 million won from a Seoul City Council candidate. This has also raised a larger criticism regarding regional National Assembly representatives that they almost have this feudal lord type of power. Feudal lord would be Yeongju, because they have major nominating powers over their respective local elections,
Yes.
over the city or district council. So reports citing an unnamed council members say these lawmakers allegedly receive bundles of cash when election time rolls around. And then this hurts democracy on so many levels. But one, local council members have this sense of entitlement because they, quote unquote, paid for the position. They're not beholden to their constituents.
I see. Okay. Well, that's domestic politics for you. We're going to go to North Korea for a final story where its leader Kim Jong-un and his family made a very public appearance.
For the new year, Kim Jong-un with his wife Lee Seol-ju and daughter Kim Joo-ae visited the family mausoleum, the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun, where Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il are resting. But the person at the very center, and we mean this literally and symbolically, was the teenager, Kim Joo-ae. So in the photo and reports released by the Korean Central News Agency,
Yes.
you see Kim Joo-ae front and center of this group photo. Her parents, including the supreme leader, on her side, off to the side, and the entire Workers' Party leadership behind her.
Yes.
The mausoleum itself is a symbolic place for the Kim political dynasty, and this is the first time that Kim Joo-ae has made an official visit to the site.
Right. And the day was filled with other symbolic moments.
Right, and this could hint at beginnings of a succession of transfer of power.
Okay.
So 조선중앙 TV published moments from a New Year's celebration event, which we have up on our YouTube. Joo-ae is again the first person to step out of her father's limousine. Again, nothing is done by accident in
Right.
North Korea as far as the Kim family is concerned. The father-daughter wore in matching leather coats, and they were seen throughout the concert with Kim Joo-ae holding her father's hand and whispering in her father's ear. Very friendly family moment.
Yes.
And then, again, she also gets up at the stroke of midnight and kisses her father's cheek. Kim Jong-un was also seen taking flowers from and greeting young children. And going back to another family matter, his sister, Kim Yo-jong,
Yes.
also was photographed with 2 children suspected to be her own for the very first time. Her marriage/pregnancy or matter of how many children she has, that has never been confirmed.
That's right. So they say, picture 1,000 words. That was a picture seen by many around the world. All right, we're going to call it a wrap for top stories. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And with that, we are due for a first song break for this Monday morning. How about this one, Happy by Day 6.
그런 날이 있을까요? 마냥 좋은 그런 날이요. 내일 걱정 하나 없이 웃게 되는 그런 날이요. 뭔가 하나씩은 걸리는 게 생기죠. 과연 행복할 수 있을까요? 그런 날이 있을까요? 꿈을 찾게 되는 날이요. 너무 기뻐 하늘 보고 소리를 지르는 날이요. 뭐 이대로 계속해서 버티고 있으면 언젠가 그런 날이 올까요? May I be happy. 매일 웃고 싶어요. 걱정 없고 싶어요. 아무나 좀 답을 알려주세요. So help me. 주저앉고 있어요. 눈물 날 것 같아요. 그러니까 제발 제발 제발요. Tell me it's okay to be happy. 알고리즘엔 잘된 사람만 수도 없이 뜨네요. 뭐 이대로 계속해서 살아만 있으면 언젠가 저런 날이 올까요? May I be happy. 매일 웃고 싶어요. 걱정 없고 싶어요. 아무나 좀 답을 알려주세요. So help me. 주저앉고 있어요. 눈물 날 것 같아요. 그러니까 tell me it's okay to be happy. 그냥 쉽게 쉽게 살고 싶은데 내 하루하루는 왜 이리 놀라울 정도로 어려운 건데. May I be happy. 매일 웃고 싶어요. 걱정 없고 싶어요. 아무나 좀 답을 알려주세요. So help me. 주저앉고 있어요. 눈물 날 것 같아요. 그러니까 제발 제발 제발요. Tell me it's okay to be happy.
It is now time for Profile Check. We have Vasana here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
Happy New Year.
Happy. Oh, that's right. It is New Year.
It is. It's our first Monday, like our
first Monday
full
in the new
week
year.
of the new year.
Okay,
So-
that's me. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Hey, I do want to ask you though our text topic today.
Yes.
We're talking about like world events or any event that really stands out in your memory, one that
Okay.
made kind of etched in your memory.
I
if you had to
better not
choose
say
one.
something too old. It might date me. So
You always date yourself. It's okay.
I do.
It's okay.
In New Zealand, there was one thing we call it the America's Cup. It's a yacht race, and I remember just listening to when New Zealand won the America's Cup for the first time. It was just really amazing. But apart from that, I think the
Yes.
global one would be 9/11. I remember that
Yes.
very distinctly because it was the first time in a while I'd had a great sleep. I woke up, and because New Zealand's obviously the time zones very different. So I had a great sleep. I think it was about 10 hours sleep. Got into work, and nobody was working. Everybody was watching the TV.
Right.
Found out later, obviously, what happened, but it was rather ironic that I had a great sleep when millions didn't.
Exactly.
So yes, that's one thing that sticks out in my mind.
Right, that's one I mentioned as well. That's one that stands out in many people's minds. So let's jump into profile check. Who are we profiling this week?
So as you just said, Happy New Year. So in Korea, every New Year's Eve, most of the networks in Korea have what do they call it? Daesang, that's whatever.
Right, it's like award season.
Award
they have
season.
so many telecasts.
I thought it was pre-taped, but it's live.
It's live.
So all those poor actors and actresses have to go there on New Year's Eve instead of spending it with... Anyway, enough of my rant. So they have an award ceremony every year on New Year's Eve. Anyway, so in the UK, however, they have those as well, but they don't make people stay up all night. They have what they call an honours list.
Honours list?
Honours list, which is usually announced at New Year's or around New Year's time. And the recipients are presented with title awards, then MBE and OBE, a CBE or a knighthood.
Okay.
So they're given by the Queen, now the King. So maybe you can explain what honours list means.
I think the closest thing in Korea would be like the 국가 훈장, like 제도. It was probably the closest thing.
I don't think you have one that's official and one that's every year. It's only for people who do special things from time to time.
Yes, and it's not like they have a selective number or it's done at a certain time, but I guess periodically when somebody does something or they should be recognized, they are done.
So the first honoree, we don't have time to go through them all.
Okay.
I'd love to, but the first honoree is Idris Elba.
Ooh. Yes.
So from now on, it is Sir Idris Elba.
And we have an image of him on our YouTube page in case you're joining us there.
Very good.
Yes, he's an amazing actor, though.
Amazing actor, but it's not just for his acting.
Okay.
That's the reason he's getting it. It's for supporting young people through charity and his advocacy, calling attention to issues like education or lack thereof for poor people, poverty and crime, particularly knife crime. So his story is one of persistence and reinvention. He was born in London, but his parents were from Sierra Leone and Ghana. So early on, acting was not a guaranteed career path when he was young.
Right.
And even before his big break, he worked night shifts at a Ford car factory, working in the factory itself on the line.
Wow.
And even as a DJ. I don't know if you've seen some of his movies, but some of his movies, he actually is a DJ. And I thought it was just part of the act, but when I was reading through his story and listening to interviews, he can actually DJ.
Okay.
Yeah, so he worked many jobs.
Yes.
As I'm sure we all have. But the time he wasn't working, he auditioned for acting. I'm sure a lot of actors are like in Hollywood. They do what?
A lot of them are servers.
Yeah.
In Hollywood and around LA. That's one of the reasons a lot of the servers are really like good looking, male or female, because a lot of them are, struggling actors. Definitely. They want to get their break.
Yeah. So he also made a guest appearance on Law and Order. I don't know if you know that.
That show, one of my favorites.
It's only about 20 seconds or whatever, but a lot of actors have been through Law and Order. Anyway, so The Wire was what made him famous.
The Wire,
and one little story before we go on to the next one is when he was auditioning for The Wire, his manager told him, whatever you do not tell them that you're from England. So he had his American accent on the whole time.
Wow.
And anyway, the auditioners, people that were there, they stopped him and said, "Where are you from?" And so he started sweating. And he go, no, it's okay. We don't care where you're from. Just where are you from? And I said, I'll have to say I'm from England. And then one guy, the money changed hands because they were betting on it. Because they were saying, this is not from the because he had to do a Baltimore American accent. And so some of them...
That's very specific.
None of them guessed England. But so whoever was the closest got the money. One of them, I think, guessed something in Africa. Anyway, so... somebody guessed Boston because it's kind of a similar. They don't pronounce their R's. Similar area.
Water.
Yeah, and things like that.
Yes.
So other things, he was named sexiest man alive in 2018. Something I'm hoping to win this year.
Oh, you're
Not.
setting your sights high this year, huh, Vasana?
Not. But yeah, so he was knighted for his Elba Hope Foundation.
Okay.
That he set up with his wife, helping young folks find alternatives to violence and developing life skills. Yeah.
I like the fact that it's obviously not just for
Acting.
Acting.
Yeah.
That he is actually, not that acting isn't giving back to the community, but more so.
Correct.
Right, with
Yeah.
his foundation.
And a
with
lot
his
of sports
charitable
people
work.
all over, even Major League and
Yes.
yeah, all those people help.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing his profile. So let's move on to our next person. Who is it?
Let's move on to Cynthia Erivo.
Oh.
So I've and for listeners who may not know, I'd like you to read out her full name.
You're putting it on me.
Yes, I am, because you know how my pronunciation is awesome. Not.
Well, I don't want to butcher it.
Oh.
And I'm seeing it for the first time right
Okay.
now. Is this her real name?
This is her real name.
Okay, I'm going to give it a go. Yes?
Do you want to? Or I've got a little clip if you want.
Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen instead, because I don't want to butcher her name. She's such an amazing actor. So, yes, here we go.
Can you please pronounce your full name for us?
Cynthia Erivo.
No. You have a...
Oh, my full name. Okay. Okay. I was like, because here's the thing. Not a crazy question. You have no idea how many times people mispronounce the Erivo in my name. So I was like, sure, Cynthia Erivo. But I know what you mean now.
I don't want to... Please.
I'll say it. I'll do it for you. So it's Cynthia Chinasoku Onyidemanazu Uezoke Amarachoku Achimana Erivo. But there's like confirmation name Perpetua in there as well.
You're so evil. Trying to make me mispronounce her name. I'm pretty good with the phonetics, but not that good.
Yes, so just a breakdown of her name.
Yes.
Her first one means God is speaking. Second one means the grace of God. And the other names are related to good words, guidance, and family history. So together, her name is about faith, grace, having a strong voice, and by the grace of God. It's a beautiful
so
name.
Fitting for her, right?
Yeah, and she is very humble as well. And just like Sir Idris, I got to call him Sir Idris now. Sir Idris Elba, her beginnings were humble too. So she was born and raised in London, and her parents worked hard to support her family. Her mother made many sacrifices to give her opportunities. But one thing for both of them, they were brought up by solo parents.
Sure.
Just one of them. But anyway, I don't want to go into that part of it. So she trained.
And by the way, not to interrupt you, because some people who are listening through the radio and who don't see the images.
Who she is. Okay.
So she is the actor or actress who plays
main role.
Elphaba. I'll be honest. Can
Is
I be
that how you
honest with
pronounce
you?
that?
Elphaba. And she, and for the kids out there listening,
She's the green monster.
the green witch. So just to clarify, and of course, an amazing actress, but tell us more now.
So she trained in music and drama, and her breakout came on the stage with The Color Purple on Broadway.
Okay.
Not on the movie.
No, that was ages
She was
ago.
a little bit
Right.
young to be in the movie.
Right.
So from 2015 to 2017,
Right.
She played a role where she won a Tony Award, which is the British equivalent. So more recently, however, everyone knows her from, as you said, Wicked.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen Wicked?
Can I be honest? I was going to say it earlier.
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
Oh my goodness.
I have not seen the movie version.
Can I be honest?
I've only seen the stage version.
I've not seen it either.
Okay. So, we're in the same boat.
Oh, we're going to get roasted by our listeners.
It's okay.
Anyway, so what many people don't know is that she is also a storyteller, deeply connected to identity and empathy, because she recently published a book aimed at anyone who has ever been told, you're too much. 너무해.
Yes.
So encouraging people to own their voice instead of shrinking back, taking a step back, just step forward, just live it, own it.
I like it though.
Be yourself.
Why
Yep.
be a shrinking violet, as they say, when your voice can be heard?
Yeah.
Right.
So that theme of strength through vulnerability is a thread throughout her life and her work. So she received an MBE. So we can't call her Dame yet, but some people, they go through the ladder, but Idris just jumped straight through the top.
What does MBE stand for?
Member of the British Empire. So we have 4 OBE, which is Order of the British Empire, MBE, which is Member of the British Empire, and then the top one before you're knighted is a CBE, which is a Commander of the British Empire.
Thanks for letting us know, because it can be confusing.
Oh, wow. I knew that's not on the script here. It's something we grew up with.
Right. But I mean, a lot of people don't know. We see, the abbreviations.
Yeah. And people, or rather countries who are still part of the Commonwealth and who still do these are all eligible. Actually, one of the members of Blackpink are eligible because of her Australian affiliation. So she could be.
She could be.
Yeah, she could be a dame.
Oh, technically, yes.
Technically. And any other Korean who has a New Zealand or Australian or Canadian passport, they can be knighted or damed or any of these awards.
Interesting.
Anyway.
All right, so that is our second profile.
Second one. Yeah, Cynthia.
What about our final person that we're going to highlight today?
Our final person is Ellie Goulding.
Oh, we know her.
You know
At
her?
least her music. I don't know her
Have
personally.
you listened to her music? So many listeners know her music, but perhaps not her full personal journey.
Yes.
So Ellie was born, do you want to pronounce this one?
Elena or Elena, depending on how you pronounce it, Jane Goulding.
Oh,
right?
that was easy.
Compared to Cynthia's. Wow.
In Hereford, England, in a small village called Lyonshaw, where her family struggled with money when she was young. That's because when she was 5, her parents separated, and her mother worked at a supermarket to make ends meet.
To make ends meet, by the way, that's like
that's
your
a good
term for
phrase.
today, right?
Make ends meet.
It just means basically working hard to make sure you have proper finances, putting food on the table, etc. Yes.
Yeah, it's not having extra money, basically.
No.
It's just meeting the basic needs.
Paycheck to
Food,
paycheck.
A roof over your head,
Exactly.
pay the electricity bill. So anyway, from a young age, she turned to music as her emotional outlet. She began playing clarinet at the age of 9, picked up the guitar at the age of 14, and started writing songs by age 15. So writing your first song at the age of 15 is pretty good.
Yes.
I think I did mine when I was about that time. So she had actually written poetry before she picked up the guitar.
Okay.
So what she had was a lot of lyrics,
Yes.
but no
And then
music.
Put it together.
Yeah, she just put it together. So music helped her through the difficult times, which is often described with the word catharsis. There's another word for today, catharsis. I think it's the same in Korean.
So what does it mean?
It's the process where you... No, it's on my script here. Release strong emotions.
Yes.
So you're able to find comfort in something else, through something else. So for many people, it's music. For some people, it's going for a run.
Sure.
Other people, exercising. Some people, eating ice cream. Whatever.
All of the above.
All of the above. And so in Ellie's case, it was through her music. So I think in Korean, you just konglicize that, catharsis.
Yes.
I did look up a word in Korean, but it just didn't mean the same, quite the same thing.
Sure.
So anyway, her first album, Lights, launched her onto the world stage, and hits like...
Love Me Like You Do.
Do you know that one?
Yes.
Okay. You want to give a rendition?
No.
No? Okay, I guess not. Made her one of Britain's biggest pop exports, but beyond the charts, and this is why she got the award, her MBE.
Yes.
She used her voice for good. She has been an outspoken advocate for biodiversity. That's not a fuel. So biodiversity, climate action is a fuel, actually. Climate action, mental health awareness, and gender equality. So her advocacy work is a big part of why she's being recognized on the honors list too.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's a lot of environmental work and a lot of work to try and make people equal.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, we took a look at three people who have already made their mark and probably will continue to do so.
Yep.
So give a recap, if we can, of the three people that we covered.
So it was Idris Elba, Cynthia Erivo, her short name, and Ellie Goulding. And together they have a beautiful pattern.
Right.
Humble beginnings, staying true to yourself, and helping others.
I like that.
Yeah.
What a great way to begin our new year. And of course, we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Vasana.
Thank you.
And speaking of Ellie Goulding, we're going to play that one, Love Me Like You Do. So enjoy this one. And I'll be back at 8. Remember, we have our special interview followed by our special report as well, all about China. All right, here it is. Enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
You're the light, you're the night, you're the color of my blood. You're the cure, you're the pain, you're the only thing I wanna touch. Never knew that it could mean so much, so much. You're the fear, I don't care, 'cause I've never been so high. Follow me through the dark, let me take you past the satellites. You can see the world you brought to life, to life. So love me like you do, la la, love me like you do. Love me like you do, la la, love me like you do. Touch me like you do, touch me like you do. What are you waiting for? Fading in, fading out, on the edge of paradise. Every inch of your skin is a holy grail I've gotta find. Only you can set my heart on fire, on fire. Yeah, I'll let
부산은행과 함께합니다.
I was so busy this morning. I didn't even get to check my messages. I almost got hit.
Here comes the safety hero. Stop right there, Smombi. Put your phone away. Keep your head up. Look around.
What was I doing? Thank you. I'm finally free from being a smombie.
As you just heard, even a quick text could lead to a serious accident. This kind of behavior has a name, Smombi, a word created by combining smartphone and zombie.
Walk with your head up and check your surroundings before you move. Let's build a safer traffic culture and keep our streets free from smombies. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
Hello, BFM listeners. Happy New Year. 2026 has begun. 2026 is the year of the Red Horse. The Red Horse stands for passion and energy. We hope this year brings you new challenges and positive changes. Just like always, BEFM will be here in 2026, bringing you better and more diverse programs and staying with you from the start of your day to the end. We wish you a happy new year and hope you tune into BEFM all year long. Once again, Happy New Year!
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Welcome back. This is Spotlight News. President Lee Jae-myung arrives in Beijing for state visit. President Lee Jae-myung arrived in Beijing yesterday for a 4-day visit to China, including a summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping scheduled for later today, with the leaders expected to focus on North Korea, economic ties, and cultural exchanges. The meeting with President Xi will mark their second meeting in 2 months since the APEC summit in Gyeongju. He is expected to ask for China's support in moving strained ties with Pyongyang and the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula forward as a part of his pragmatic diplomatic approach. A business delegation including SK Chairman Choi Tae-won and Samsung Electronics Chairman Lee Jae-yong and LG Group Chairman Koo Kwang-mo is accompanying the president. Seoul urges North Korea to stop provocations following missile launch. The National Security Office convened an emergency meeting yesterday and urged Pyongyang to cease provocations following North Korea's latest ballistic missile launch. North Korea fired multiple ballistic missiles toward the EC yesterday morning as President Lee Jae-myung was set to depart for Beijing and after the U.S. capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command issued a statement saying that it is closely consulting with its allies and reaffirmed its commitment to the defense of the U.S. homeland and regional allies. Foreign ownership in South Korean stocks reached near 6-year high. foreign ownership as a share of total market capitalization reached its highest level in 5 years and 8 months in December, amid a rally in the South Korean equity market. Foreigners bought a net 3.5 trillion won worth of local shares in December, raising their stock holdings to 32.9% of total market capitalization, the highest level since April 2020, and that's according to the Korea Center for International Finance, or KCIF. The KCIF attributed the sharp rise in foreign investment to expectations that robust global demand for semiconductors will benefit South Korean chipmakers. Over 50,000 KT users switched mobile carriers in 4 days. More than 50,000 customers of KT Corporation have canceled their subscriptions after the telecom company began waiving early termination penalties following a major data breach last year. According to industry sources, 52,661 KT users moved to rival carriers between Wednesday and Saturday. More than 70% of KT customers switched to SK Telecom, which has been moving swiftly to attract KT customers, including those who previously left the company following its own hacking incident last year. Captured Venezuelan president due to appear in New York court. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, who were both captured by U.S. forces on Saturday local time, are due to appear in a New York court on Monday. Venezuela's defense minister issued a statement backing interim President Delcy Rodriguez, adding that a large part of Maduro's security team and innocent civilians were killed in the U.S. operation. U.S. President Donald Trump threatened Rodriguez to comply with U.S. demands. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the U.S. is not at war with Venezuela. This was Spotlight News. It's time for a special interview. President Lee Jae-myung began a 4-day state visit to China on January 4th. And the trip marks the first visit to China by a South Korean president in 6 years and a first state visit in 9 years. During the visit, President Lee and Chinese President Xi Jinping are expected to discuss a wide range of issues from economic cooperation to regional security in Northeast Asia. As this New Year's summit draws close attention, we aim to better understand what the evolving South Korea-China relationship could mean in the year ahead. So joining us today is Professor Alan Carlson, Associate Professor of Government Department at Cornell University. He's an expert on Asian security and Chinese foreign policy as well. Hi, welcome to the program, Professor.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yes. How important is this summit for South Korea-China relations? And what about the timing? What does that tell us about both sides' priorities as we kick off the new year?
It's a significant meeting between the two countries. I think in particular, given the proximity to the recent meeting which took place in South Korea, it underscores the fact that I think both Beijing and Seoul are looking to improve ties in a pretty unstable international environment, although I'm not sure that they see things eye to eye. And so the question in the summit will be the degree to which there'll actually be deliverables and that they'll come out with some sort of concrete development in terms of improving the relationship.
I see. Well, of course, we don't know for sure, but maybe you can give us a hint as to the main items on the agenda that President Lee and President Xi are likely to focus on during this summit that's actually going to happen later this afternoon.
Yes, you mentioned the list of issues which are on the table. I think it's important to emphasize, though, that Beijing and Seoul probably have slightly different lists. On the part of China, I think the real question is the security environment in East Asia, and particularly cross-straits relations in the aftermath of the Japanese Prime Minister's statement about a hypothetical situation in which Taiwan was invaded and the stance that Japan would take. I think what she is looking to get from President Lee is some sort of a stronger commitment to the one China principle and distancing South Korea's position from Japan's position on Taiwan. And of course, also for South Korea, I think really the focus is on economic issues with concerns about the reliance that South Korea has on China for exports and imports, particularly in the area of rare earths, but extending into cultural issues as well. For example, the ban on K-pop in China, which has been in effect basically since 2017. And obviously K-pop is one of South Korea's greatest exports.
Indeed, Professor. So you just already mentioned some of what I was going to ask you in terms of, obviously China being South Korea's largest trading partner, and of course the rare earths. So important for the supply chain stability. So how realistic is it that, given what's happening right now around the world, especially in Asia, that this relationship will continue to at least remain stable and hopefully maybe even flourish in the coming year?
I think it will remain stable, and it's largely been stable despite some ups and downs, most notably again in 2017 in regards to the THAAD issue. But really, South Korea is in a difficult position. It's trying to hedge its bets essentially by having a strong economic relationship with China, while having a security guarantee from the United States. And that's a difficult balancing act. And what we've seen in different administrations in South Korea is a little bit more of an emphasis towards the United States or towards China. And President Lee obviously is trying to improve the relationship with China, in part to strengthen South Korea's economy, but also in relationship to the North and concerns about the relationship across the 38th parallel.
Yes, and going back to the whole issue of rare earths, obviously China has a great deal of these rare earths that are vital for industries like South Korea's EVs or even petrochemicals, etc. How vulnerable is South Korea on this front? And do you think that this summit can maybe ease up those risks?
It can ease up those risks, but with a cost. I think that Beijing is not going to give anything away for free. And in this case, what we see with Japan, for example, is going back to the early 2010s, Japan began to try to diversify its reliance on different sources for rare earth metals. South Korea hasn't gone through that same process. Its reliance on China has decreased a little bit over the past few years, but it's quite a ways behind Japan and the United States for that matter. And the United States also looms large over all of this in terms of the unpredictability of U.S. foreign policy and particularly trade policy, and President Trump's fondness for tariffs and slapping tariffs on here and there around the world.
Yes, indeed. And in terms of other areas where there could be deeper economic cooperation, I don't know. It's always difficult striking that, that right balance, right? What do you think on this front?
Yeah, I think that the difficulty is the asymmetry. China matters a lot more to South Korea than South Korea matters to China in terms of economic development. I think that probably one thing to look for in terms of the summit meeting isn't necessarily a big breakthrough on economic issues or security issues, but maybe a little bit more cooperation on cultural issues. Again, to go back to kind of the question of Chinese South Korean cultural exports and K-pop, and maybe that would signal a warming of relations between the two countries.
Right. And, the age-old question about South Korea's broader strategy of managing relations with China while still maintaining the strong alliance with the United States. I mean, speaking of a balancing act, it can be challenging at times. So what do you make of this?
Yeah, it reminds me of that old saying about South Korea being a shrimp between two whales, right? And it's normally referring, obviously, to Japan and China, but I think the United States is in there as well.
Yes.
And I think that's what really kind of structurally limits the choices that the South Korean government has. And I'd say that the South Korean government has been pretty adroit and nimble in navigating these difficulties during a period, again, of real uncertainty, particularly in terms of American foreign policy. And then in regards to ongoing tensions across the Taiwan Straits, the recent military exercises that Beijing carried out. And as you're well aware, to go back to North Korea, the missile tests, which were just carried out by Kim Jong-un as well.
Is there anything else we should be keeping an eye out for as the two presidents head into the summit later today, Professor?
I mean, I guess I would say that beyond Asia, the recent U.S. military action in Venezuela and the extraction of Maduro really has had an unclear impact on international politics. It's certainly something that North Korea is objecting to and China is objected to as well. It'll be interesting to see if the South Korean leader, President Lee, has anything to say on this or not. And in general, I think, summits generally don't produce major breakthroughs. There's a lot of fanfare, and I wouldn't expect a fundamental change in the relationship to come out of this meeting, but it does signal a bit of a change between the two countries.
Yes, indeed. We'll be keeping an eye on what is exchanged in the summit later today. But thank you so much for giving us great information, and we hope that you have a happy new year. Thank you, Professor.
Sure thing. Thanks.
This was Professor Alan Carlson. And as I said earlier, President Lee Jae-myung is on a 4-day state visit to China. So this is the first visit to China by a South Korean president in 6 years. That summit is scheduled to happen later this afternoon. We'll be keeping tabs on everything that is said, exchanged, and we'll report to you, of course, tomorrow as well. And I'll be back in just a moment with our special report.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan. Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan. Morning Wave in Busan.
It's now time for a special report with our foreign correspondent because we just discussed the broader economic and security implications of the South Korea-China summit with our expert. And now we're going to turn to Beijing to hear from a correspondent on the ground about how the talks are unfolding there, at least the atmosphere. So joining us today is Steve Hatherley from CGTN. Hi, how are you, Steve?
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me today. It's a pleasure.
It's the pleasure is all ours. Great to see you and hear from you once again. So from Beijing, what are you seeing or hearing thus far about today's summit between President Lee and President Xi?
Well, this is being seen as a really significant and well-timed diplomatic engagement. As you know, President Lee arrived in China just yesterday for what would kick off a 4-day state visit that will run through January 7th. Now, today, on Monday, this is the main day for the Leaders Summit in Beijing. And the commentary is highlighting that the close communication between China and South Korea, as of course they are two major Asia-Pacific economies, is helping support confidence and stability in the region.
Anything else in terms of the two leaders that you can tell us?
Well, this isn't the first time that they're meeting. This is actually the second formal meeting between them since President Lee took office. The first, of course, took place on the sidelines of APEC 2025 last year. It sounds so strange to say last year when we reference 2025, but that was in Gyeongju, of course, in late October and early November. But there, the discussions focused on strengthening bilateral economic ties and also regional cooperation. But of course, these meetings that are happening now are important. But beyond these meetings, Chinese officials and the media here is also placing the summit within the broader historical context of China-South Korea relations. They've had them for a long time. They officially began with the establishment of diplomatic ties back in 1992. So it's been more than 3 decades. And during that time, over 3 decades, I guess, and during that time, the two countries have built a relationship that's characterized or been characterized by very deep economic integration, regular high-level exchanges, and this is what provides the strong foundation for ongoing cooperation.
Yes, indeed. And Steve, are there any particular things like protocol or staging or messages being emphasized around this summit as a diplomatic event?
Absolutely. President Lee's visit, it's being conducted as a formal state visit. That means full diplomatic protocol, and that reflects the importance that China places on its relationship with South Korea. Today, as I mentioned, has been designated as the central day for the meetings here in Beijing. The talks between the two leaders will take place along with related official engagements. The staging, you mentioned the staging of the visit, it's emphasizing continuity. So rather than focusing on a single moment or a single meeting or a single summit, this is embedded within a multi-day program that also includes meetings and activities related to economic cooperation, business forums, exchange events as well. And there's a real emphasis on mutual respect and adherence to the established diplomatic principles, and a focus on practical cooperation, particularly in areas that deliver tangible benefits to both countries.
I see. Any other key points that we should know about?
Well, I think one would be the central role of the economic ties in the relationship. For more than 2 decades, China has been South Korea's largest trading partner, and of course, South Korea remains one of China's most important economic partners as well. So there's a deep interdependence there, and it's frequently cited as a reason why maintaining open markets and stable cooperation frameworks is in the shared interests of both sides.
Yes, great points that you make. I'm also curious, Steve, how this meeting, this summit, is being portrayed by Chinese officials or the Chinese media. What tone are they striking thus far?
Sure. Well, Chinese officials and the media are both portraying the meeting in a very positive and forward-looking tone. The coverage has emphasized that the two sides, despite differences in social systems, or I think as the professor just mentioned, perhaps not always seeing eye to eye, they have shown over the past 3 decades that cooperation can transcend these differences and support shared development. So the summit, it's being framed as part of an ongoing process to strengthen trust and expand cooperation and maintain stable bilateral relationships. The reporting is also emphasizing the economic foundation of the relationship too, and that includes references to the 10th anniversary of the China-South Korea Free Trade Agreement in 2025, as well as the scale of bilateral trade. I think we know that economically the relationship is very important to both sides.
Yes.
The bilateral trade reached about $300 billion through November of last year. And that just highlights the depth of integration in industries like manufacturing and technology and consumer markets as well. But beyond the scale of just trade, the commentary on the Chinese side is also highlighting the importance of expanding cooperation into emerging sectors. So there, we'd be talking about things like artificial intelligence, biopharmaceuticals, green industries, even the silver economy. I think would be a good example.
Okay.
So working together in these different areas allows both countries to advance economic transformation. It also allows both countries to promote sustainable development. And officials present this as not only a practical response to domestic growth needs, but also a constructive contribution to regional and global economic recovery.
Yes, and as this summit continues and progresses, what should we be watching next from Beijing?
Well, attention in Beijing is focused on official statements and readouts that will follow the talks between the two leaders. And that will clarify the agreed directions for future cooperation, particularly in economic and development related fields. And also any mention of strengthened dialogue mechanisms. Those will be closely watched as kind of indicators of how the relationship is moving forward.
Right.
Observers, they're also watching developments over the remainder of the visit, which again will go through January 7th. That include meetings and activities related to things that we've talked about: economic collaboration, trade, cultural exchanges will be on the docket as well, and also people-to-people contacts. So what that means is there's a real emphasis about sustained engagement across multiple areas, and the view is that it's essential for maintaining long-term stability and the benefit of both sides.
Right, and after the summit in Beijing, what's next on the itinerary?
Yes, President Lee will be off to Shanghai, as a matter of fact, on January 6th and January 7th. In Shanghai, he's going to be taking part in events commemorating really historically significant moments in China-South Korea relations. In Shanghai, he's going to visit the former site of the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea. That marks the 100th anniversary of its establishment. And the president will also participate in activities designed to promote cooperation between Korean and Chinese companies in innovation and entrepreneurship and future-oriented sectors. So a very busy schedule for the South Korean president while he's here in China.
Yes, yes. Any final things we should be on the lookout for?
Well, I think both sides are highlighting cooperation within regional and multilateral platforms, particularly in the Asia Pacific. And it's important to note that China will be hosting the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting in Shenzhen in November of this year. And that will provide further context for the strategic timing of this visit.
Yes.
And also the coordination on regional economic issues. But the mood and the messages from this side seem to be that by working together to resist protectionism and support multilateral cooperation, also learn from the lessons of history. By doing that, China and South Korea can not only promote their own individual development, but they can also play a constructive role in fostering stability and confidence across the Asia Pacific, but also across the wider world.
Yes, well, thank you so much for your thorough reporting as to what's been happening and what's also to come during the summit. So take care and thank you again, Steve. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you and to your listeners as well. Thanks for having me.
Everybody, this was Steve Hatherley once again, and I'm sure many of you recognize his voice, and it was great to check in with him in the new year. I'll be back in just a moment with your updated traffic and weather. It's time for your traffic update. There's an accident on the Dongso overpass going away from the city on Bumnagor ramp. It's been cleared, but there is still backup because of this. There's congestion on Mandok-dero from Minam to Mandok intersection. It's also looking slow on Kaya-dero from Kaegum to Jure intersection. And there's backup on Jungang-dero from Songgong 3-way intersection to Samjeon intersection. Currently, it's 2 degrees Celsius under clear skies here in Busan. It's expected to go up to 8 today. Busan City is under a dry weather special report. Across the nation, clear skies, but some areas like Gyeonggi and Gangwon are seeing morning lows as cold as minus 10 degrees, and Jeju seeing rain or snow in the morning. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Wagle Tea Time. Haley's back. Welcome back.
Hello.
Yes, we have so much to woggle about. This first story. Fatal accident in Seoul with a taxi that accelerated suddenly on the road. The driver has been identified as a senior driver.
Right, so it is that kind of a story again. So a taxi driver in his late 70s has been put under urgent arrest, and then the police have requested a full arrest warrant against him for allegedly causing an accident that killed 1 pedestrian and injured 14, including himself.
Yes.
So this was an EV, electronic vehicle taxi on Friday evening, suddenly accelerated by Jonggak Station in Seoul, crashed into a pedestrian light at a crosswalk and then into 2 other vehicles, hitting pedestrians who are waiting to cross at the light.
Right.
The police say that in the rapid test after the accident, the driver tested positive for morphine or morphine-related medication. The police have requested a full report by the National Forensic Service, and authorities do say that you could get a positive report on the rapid test even from something as light as cold medication.
I see. So we're going to await that full battery of tests. This again raises issues with senior drivers, though.
Right, because this does go to the larger issue of aged drivers. According to the Korea Transportation Safety Authority, of the 69,000 taxi drivers who are registered in Seoul, 53% were actually over the age of 65. The rate of senior drivers amongst taxi drivers is also going up persistently with demographical changes in aging. So the thing about senior drivers, they could experience reduced senses of sight and hearing, also decreases in their response rate.
Right.
And the number of senior drivers who have licenses almost doubled between the years of 2025 and 2024. So with this, the age group responsible for the highest number of accidents shifted from those in their 50s back in 2014 to those in their 60s last year. So experts say that with this rise in age groups, it implies a drastic increase in the ratio of accidents by drivers in their 70s and beyond in the future.
I see. Well, how does medication play into this?
Right, so there is a new aspect of this with the driver having tested positive for at least some form of medication. So seniors, again, have a higher likelihood of being on medication for various chronic ailments, whether that be diabetes or high blood pressure, or even cold medication or tranquilizers, usually ingredients with Xanax or Valium. That can definitely drop your response rate. Back in 2023, there were 5 accidents that were caused by drivers who were on medication or narcotics, and 18 in 2024. So these psychoactive drugs, in Korean we call them 향정신성의약품, they were involved in 19 accidents in 2023. 32 people got hurt collectively. Last year, 52 cases, 1 dead, 86 injured. So experts say that regarding senior drivers, a fundamental solution is for there to be an environment where senior drivers don't feel the need to drive, especially in rural areas where buses run, 1 a day, or you miss one, you're waiting for hours, including wider public transportation or even free buses.
Well, thank you for diving into this story and, of course, the wider ramifications as well. All right, up next, a group of CSAT or Sunung test takers from 2 years ago filed for compensation for, we remember this story, an alarm, a bell that rang a minute early. And the appeals court has maintained that the government is liable for damages.
And in the scope of relativity, that minute in Sunung is it's a time. It is a significant time. So this pertains to the case during the CSAT exam at Goulding High School. This was in 2023. The bell to end the first period, Korean language exam portion, rang a minute early.
Yes.
The reason is because they used a manual system where a teacher physically pushed a button. That proctor had miscalculated the time.
Right.
The school, after second period, redistributed the answer sheet so they could fill it out. However, chaos, right? Confusion. So a group of 42 test takers filed for damages against the government.
Yes. And so the first court ruled in favor of the students, and then the appeals court did as well, right?
Right. So no changes there in the ruling, but the appeals court actually raised the amount of damages the government is liable to pay.
Okay.
So the first court back in March of last year admitted that the government should pay between 1 and 3 million won per student. 40 students were ordered to receive 3 million won to 1 million won. However, the Seoul High Court last week added 2 million won extra to the range, bringing up to 3 to 5 million won.
And what was the reasoning behind this decision, this heightened amount?
Basically, this is a statement about what the CSATs mean to that age group.
Okay.
The High Court said, given the importance of the CSAT exams and the age of plaintiffs at the time, late teens to early 20s at most, they would have experienced serious confusion or chaos due to this, what it called, quote, an illegal act. However, the court also said that it is hard to recognize specific additional losses that some of the students claimed, including not being able to get into the university of their choice. So thus it's a compromise of sorts at 3 to 5 million won.
I see, but it just goes to show you once again the importance of the CSAT. So, well, thank you. We're going to call it a wrap today for 와글와글 tea time, but of course you'll be back tomorrow. So thank you, Haley.
Have a good day.
We are ready for a little breather right now. So this is 비밀의 하원 by 이상은.
행복해져 나를 위해서 난 다시 태어난 것만 같아 그대를 만나고부터 그대 나의 초라한 마음은 받아준 순간 같아 난 다시 꿈을 꾸게 되었어 그대를 만나고부터 그대 나의 초라한 마음을 받아준 순간 같아
It's time for News in Depth. We have our newscaster, Claire, in the studio. Let's say hi first. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I hope you're doing well.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yes, yes. All right, let's jump into our first story for News in Depth. And we did cover it real slightly in our news, meaning we didn't get into details. So we need to delve into the whole North Korea firing ballistic missiles into the East Sea yesterday. Walk us through what happened.
So South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff say North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles on Sunday morning yesterday, January 4th, at around 7:50 a.m. from the Pyongyang area. The missiles flew approximately 900 kilometers before falling into waters between Japan and Russia outside any country's territorial sea.
Right, and Japan also detected the launch, right?
Yes, Japan's defense ministry said it detected 2 ballistic missile-like objects. Differences in initial counts are not unusual as radar tracking, trajectory separation, and debris analysis continue after detection. South Korea and the United States are still conducting joint, detailed analysis of the launch data.
Yes, and what do we know so far about the type of missile launched?
South Korea's military assesses the missiles as belonging to the KN-23 series, which is short-range ballistic missile system. The KN-23 is designed to fly on a low, maneuvering trajectory rather than a traditional high-arc ballistic path.
Okay.
This design is intended to reduce detection time and complicate interception by missile defense systems.
Ah, well, there's also been mention of a more advanced configuration.
That is correct. Based on the range and flight profile, military authorities are also examining whether the launch involved a Hwasong 11 series missile, potentially fitted with a hypersonic glide vehicle type warhead. A hypersonic glide vehicle separates from the booster and travels at very high speed while maneuvering within the atmosphere. Officials have emphasized that this remains an analytical possibility, not a confirmed conclusion, and that further data review is ongoing.
I see. Well, this was North Korea's first ballistic missile launch of the year, right?
Oh, yes. This marks North Korea's first ballistic missile launch of 2026, following its previous short-range missile launch in early November. It is also the third ballistic missile launch since the current South Korean administration took office.
Yes, and the timing has drawn attention, especially diplomatically.
That is right. The launch took place on the same day President Lee Jae-myung departed for a state visit to China, where he is scheduled to meet Xi Jinping. The visit is expected to include discussions on regional security and North Korea's denuclearization, making the timing of the launch notable.
Yes, and the timing of it, I mean, intentional or not, any comments?
So South Korean and U.S. authorities have not officially attributed a motive to the launch. They have limited their comments to technical assessment, monitoring, and readiness
rather than political interpretation.
I see. Well, still, North Korea, if we look back, has a history of launching missiles around diplomatic events.
Yes. Historically, North Korea has often conducted missile tests during periods of heightened diplomacy or international attention, particularly when South Korea, the United States, or China are engaged in high-level talks. However, officials have been careful to avoid speculation, focusing instead on what was launched and how it performed.
So what happened immediately after the launch?
So South Korea said it tracked the missiles in real time from launch through splashdown and shared information immediately with the United States and Japan. Coordination among the three countries includes radar data, trajectory analysis, and assessment of potential threats.
Yes, and the U.S. military response?
U.S. Forces Korea stated that the launch does not pose an immediate threat to U.S. personnel, territory, or allied nations. At the same time, it reaffirmed the United States' commitment to the defense of South Korea and regional stability.
What about South Korea's military posture? Because we always hear about that.
Yes, the Joint Chiefs of Staff said South Korea is maintaining a strong combined defense posture with the United States and is closely monitoring North Korean military activity. They said the military has the capability and readiness to respond to any provocations.
So what exactly is the status then?
So the Joint Chiefs said South Korea is continuing joint analysis of the launch with the United States and sharing related information with Japan.
Yes, and so of course we're going to continue to track this closely, right?
Of course, yes. Further details will be released if additional official information becomes available.
That's right. All right, we're going to do a complete 180, talk about something so different. We're going to turn to demographics, and these numbers are striking. South Korea is officially a super age society.
That's right. According to the Ministry of the Interior and Safety's 2025 resident registration population analysis, people aged 65 and older now make up 21.21% of South Korea's registered population.
Okay, so we hear the number, but we need that in context.
So under classifications used by the United Nations, a country is considered an aging society at 7%, an aged society 14%, and super age society once the elderly population exceeds 20%. So the South Korea crossed that threshold in 2024 and the gap widened further last year.
Let's talk about how many people this actually represents.
So the number of registered residents aged 65 and over reached about 10.9 million, an increase of roughly 585,000 people, or about 5.7% compared with the previous year.
Yes.
That growth rate is significantly faster than overall population growth, which has largely plateaued.
So the population isn't just aging, it's aging quickly?
Exactly.
Okay.
The pace is one of the fastest among developed countries, largely due to the low birth rate combined with rising life expectancies.
Are there notable gender differences?
Oh, yes. Among people aged 65 and older, women account for almost over 23%, compared with 19% for men, a gap of 4.4% points. This reflects longer female life expectancy and has implications for elderly poverty rates, healthcare demand, and housing patterns, particularly among older women living alone.
I see. Well, what about the gender differences? The regional differences.
So aging is more pronounced outside the Seoul metropolitan area, of course. In non-capital regions, seniors account for 23.69% of the population compared with almost 19% in the capital region.
Right. Let's talk about Busan and focus in on our city. So Busan is already well past the threshold.
Yes, Busan's elderly population stands at over 25%, meaning 1 in 4 registered residents is 65 or older.
Yes.
Nationally, 11 provinces and major cities now exceeded the 20% mark, and 170 out of 226 cities, counties, and districts fall into the super aged category.
Right, and I hear that some local areas are actually far beyond that.
That's correct. In places like Uiseong County in North Gyeongsang Province, nearly half of the population is age 65 or older. These figures highlight the extent of regional demographic imbalance, especially in rural areas.
Yes, and what about household data? Because that always tells us, another part of the story.
It really does. While the total number of households rose slightly, the average household size fell to 2.1 people. At the same time, one-person households now make up over 42% of all registered households, the largest share on record.
Yes, so who makes up the bulk of these single-person households?
So the largest group is people aged 70 and older, accounting for over 21% of all one-person households. This shows that populating aging is closely linked with elderly people living alone, not just with overall age structure.
Yes. And are there gender differences here as well?
Yes, among one-person households, elderly women are particularly prominent, especially in the 70s and over group. In contrast, among working-age adults living alone, men are more prevalent, particularly in their 30s and 50s.
So it's not just a demographic shift, but a social one as well?
Exactly. The data point to overlapping trends, which is including rapid aging, shrinking household size, and rising single elder households, all unfolding at the same time. These patterns shape demand for healthcare, welfare services, housing, transportation, and local community support, especially at the municipal level.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for going over the news in depth. Take care. Happy New Year. We'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Claire.
I'll see you next week.
All right, everybody. It was very much a news-heavy weekend turning into this Monday morning. So going over the major news items, I think the top story around the world was Venezuela. So Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, has been removed via the United States. And he and his wife are actually going to be appearing in a New York court. That's actually going to be Monday local time. So that is the biggest story. And also including, we're talking about Maduro's security team as well. The casualties, right now we're getting breaking news. We're looking at 80 people who are included in the casualty rate, including Maduro's security team and civilians. And that's according to the New York Times. So that's information that we have right now. And of course, we have the Korea-China summit. President Lee Jae-myung is set to have a summit with President Xi Jinping later on this afternoon. And of course, the North Korean missile launches. That was a major story as well. Well, we're going to call it a wrap for this very busy Monday morning. We're going to leave you with this one, 잘 지내자 우리 by Roy Kim. Have a wonderful Monday and join us tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
지난 사랑에 겁을 잔뜩 먹은 나는 뒷걸음질만 쳤다. 너는 다가오려 했지만 분명 언젠가 떠나갈 것이라 생각해 도망치기만 했다. 같이 구름 걸터 앉은 나무 바라보며 잔디밭에 누워 한쪽 귀로만 듣던 달콤한 노래들이 쓰디쓴 아픔이 되어 다시 돌아올 것만 같아. 분명 언젠가 다시 스칠 날 있겠지만 모른 척 지나가겠지. 최선을 다한 넌 받아들이겠지만 서툴렀던 난 아직도 기적을 꿈꾼다 못 마주치며 그땐 미안했었다고 용서해달라고 얘기하는 날 그때까지 잘 지내자 우리 지금 생각해보면 그까짓 두려움 내가 바보 같았지 하며 솔직해질 자신이 있으니 돌아오기만 하면 좋겠다 분명 언젠가 다시 스칠 날 있겠지만 모른 척 지나가겠지 최선을 다한 넌 받아들이겠지만 서툴렀던 난 아직도 기적을 꿈꾼다 눈 마주치며 그때